The true volatility of the stock market is ever present. Don't look at the VIX index since we already have admissions from the Fed that they have a short position on the VIX. True fragility is showing up every time there is just a light breeze and the market reacts as if it's a tornado. Soon though, the real disaster will arrive and sweep away trillions from the global markets. But will investors grip onto their FANG stocks or sell in a panic? You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today we're going to look at FANG stocks. I want to look at the US market. I want to compare that to the global market. I want to show you what's going on in Turkey. A lot to cover today. Let's begin by taking a look at this. This is the NASDAQ Composite Index. It has dropped below its 50-day moving average. Not important for me, but for the technical traders, for the algorithms. They're watching the 50-day, they're watching the 200-day moving average, and here it is falling below that. And this comes at a time when there are so many reasons for these stocks to go higher. Apple sells all these phones. They create this Apple Watch. Everybody's loving it. Amazon is just getting all this praise and everything. And so we should see these going higher and higher, particularly when you have less and less stocks that are doing well. That money that's being pumped into the system should be flowing into these FANG stocks. And here in the short term, it is falling below that. And I think a lot of retail investors will be buying the dip here at this time. I do not recommend anybody to do anything. You have to decide for yourself. But certainly we can see that in this technical indicator, it's fallen below that. I really think it's going to continue up higher, but that's just me. FANG stocks, you can see this going from basically the end of August up until present day. And it has dropped down quite significantly, in fact, here. And this is just all of the FANG stocks, not just these. If you look at this with all of them put together, what I call the FANG Plus, they have not done well overall in the short term. So we'll see how that's going to turn around. And I think one of the most important things here is the global central bank balance sheets. All right, now when you look at this, I think it is really critical to understand and to always, every single month at minimum, follow these numbers to understand where we're headed. This is not the first time we've seen a decline. I mean, look at this. You can see this marginal decrease right here during the financial crisis, maybe right here in about 2016, 2017. But this one here is steady and it looks like it will continue. If this actually does decline meaningfully, we are going to have a very big problem, because the reason why these stocks have risen is simply because global central banks print money. If they do not do this, how in the world will they ever withstand the shock that will be experienced? I really don't know. They've got extremely low interest rates still, and that has been supporting these markets and the wider economy as a result. Now you could see right here, looking at this, where the only couple times where this has occurred has been during the financial crisis as well as now. So I gotta worry about this big time, and this is what you never ever hear this about in the financial industry. Nobody wants to talk about this. They never mention it. They say, don't worry, they'll take care of it. They're going to fix any problems that arise. That's basically the way it is. Let them handle their job. I'll just do my job, and that is, let me worry about today. Not tomorrow, not next week, just today. I worry about the trades that go on today. I worry about the portfolio valuation today. So as far as I'm concerned, they're of no use. Looking at this here is the MSCI All Countries World Index excluding the US. Now I want to show you that in comparison to the MSCI US Index. It is incredible to see the direction of this since the financial crisis, basically flatlined for all countries minus the US. All right, I'm not talking about just some random country out there. I'm not talking about Europe. I'm not talking about Asia. I'm talking about all countries minus the US. And people tell me, the market keeps going higher. What the hell are you talking about? Which market are you talking about? Which one? Well, I have a feeling we're talking about FANG stocks. We're not even talking about the market. We're talking about FANG stocks. When you extract the FANG Plus stocks from the S&P 500, from the NASDAQ, whatever you want to do, suddenly the US stocks don't look so pretty. That doesn't mean that you don't see other stocks rising. Of course, even in the worst of times, you will see some stocks going up. But when we look at this and understand, no, the market isn't doing well. You're seeing FANG stocks doing well. You're seeing a handful of stocks doing well. You can check out the market breadth. You can look at the statistics that actually prove that. I've shown you here many times before, but instead people just say that I'm negative and so on. I'm just covering the charts. I'm covering the information, and it's really showing us the truth. Now, you might say, well, I'll just invest in FANG stocks, and that's fine if you want to do that. I don't have any skin in the game. I don't care. I don't want to know what exactly you do with your money. I don't want to have any involvement in that. I don't want to give any advice. I'm not telling you. I just cover the charts. I cover the information, okay? So you do what you want with that. Right now we're looking at Snapchat. I've been covering this actually since the IPO, and it fell to a record low. Doesn't surprise me, because this is what happens a lot of times. You might call it a pump and dump. You might call it just, a failure, in that you have these companies all the time coming out that believe that it's just worth billions of dollars. What does it do exactly? Where's the productivity? Does it bring in money? The reason why Facebook brings in money is not because people post their pictures and stuff. That's what they show you. Ultimately, it's for advertisers, and the advertisers are making a lot of money, and in connection with that, Facebook makes the profit from this. So this right here is the reason why Facebook is profitable. With Snapchat, I don't know what they do exactly, but it's losing money, I believe, and so we're seeing that coming up here in their stock. Clearly evident that it just keeps going down. Now this right here is from Nedbank, and it's a good report that they provide every so often. I thought it was interesting to see the global yield curve. I don't know if I've ever covered this before, but I wanted to bring it to you in this video. And essentially what we're looking at here is the spread between the 1 and 5 year to the 5-10 year maturity buckets of the JPM Global Bond Index. All right, now when I see this, it's very broad. It's very broad, but it should be covered. It should be understood. Global liquidity crunch nearing as global yield curve flattens / inverts. And we have to worry about this here. They make some points on the right-hand side. A stronger US dollar and the global cost of capital rising is the perfect cocktail, in our opinion, for a liquidity crunch. Major liquidity crunches often occur when yield curves around the world flatten or invert. Currently, the global yield curve is inverted. This is an ominous sign for the global economy and financial markets, especially overvalued stock markets like the US. That's Nedbank saying this, and I get accused of it all the time, but hey, take it up with Nedbank, because I'm reading from them. That's what they say. The U.S. economy remains robust. Well, we can disagree with that, but we believe a global liquidity crunch will weigh on the economy. Hence, we believe the U.S. downturn is closer than most market participants are predicting. And it's never what they say. They always say, well, it's going to be in 2 years from now. It's going to be 3 years from now. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, something smacks them in the face. And then they said, oh, nobody expected it. Nobody predicted it. And so on. Look, I don't know what's going to happen, but I can tell you right now, these are some signs, and I just wanted to bring that to you. Now, I'm going to switch over to some information about Turkey. If you're done with the video, have a nice day. Thank you for joining me. Some people don't like when I switch topics. I'm not exactly sure why, but if you're here for information, well, thank you for tuning in. I'm going to continue on very quickly, just a couple little things. Turkey's consumer inflation climbed to one of the highest levels since the president came to power 15 years ago. So this right here shows us they have been unable to take control of the economy and what has been happening here in the monetary system, the financial system. The inflation rate rose for a 6 month to 24.5% in September. Now think about it. If you live in Turkey, if you are earning this currency, suddenly inflation rate at 25%, that hurts everybody. Doesn't matter if you're in the lower class, middle class, or even in the upper class, you're going to have issues right now at 25% inflation. Yeah, if you've got investments and they're all in something real, maybe you got some real estate going on, maybe you got something that's able to keep up with that inflation, you'll do better than the other people. But even those people tend to, get a little fed up and they start moving their money out. Okay, that's what happens. They'll take the loss and they move their money out. And I've seen this many times before in other countries as well. Okay, so there's just some charts here quickly. Catching up, inflation now above the central bank benchmark rate, and you could see what has happened throughout 2018. It's been skyrocketing, absolutely skyrocketing, as you see that right now. And inflation is going to hurt them big time, not just the average individual, but the government as well. All right, you can see the PPI year over year skyrocketing. This is really going to put a hurt on them big time. When you look at their imports, it's going to really affect them with trade, and I'm going to keep following it as time goes on. This is one of those emerging market countries that we really need to focus on. Geopolitically, it's got some importance, as well as geographically. I think that it is in an important position, and it does have a major impact on what happens in the world. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. That's all you got to do to support me, is just click the button, the like button, and that helps to support me. I do appreciate that. Thank you. And last but not least, if you want the financial information and education that you were not taught in schools, well, these 2 books that I wrote will teach you everything you need to know, and it does so in such an easy package. I assure you, you don't need to know anything about the financial industry, and yet you will know so much when you're done. I don't have any of the jargon or any of this other business that a lot of individuals get confused about. I made it very simple. Check them out. Link is in the description. If you're more interested in the audiobook version, you can get that at themoneygps.com.